Yes, all of you can listen me. Am I audible? Is the screen clear? Okay, so yes, Deep Burman. Okay, welcome to the session, dear Deep. And please just let me know, is the screen clear and am I audible? Okay, just let me know, is the screen clear and am I audible? Okay, great. Okay, good evening and welcome to the session. So today I'm starting with the front of thigh. Okay, so I will go with the introduction part from the basics of today class. So we will start the session from the basics. Meanwhile, everyone will join and I will give the description of the topic. So let me just give the introduction of the platform of Unacademy, the platform which is giving us the privilege of being the part of these free sessions. So it is required that I should give the introduction of the platform. So myself, Dr. Mona Lisa. Yeah. So about the free live sessions of the Unacademy platform, if you want to be the part of these free live sessions, you can just use the code ANAT10. You can use this code for unlocking free sessions on the Unacademy platform. So I also want to tell you about the Let's Crack NEET PG session, which is I am taking on the YouTube channel. That is 7:30 p.m. is the timing, and then the FMG session, which is the 9 p.m. timing. So this will be 9 p.m. session. And for conceptual anatomy, the very talented young first year students full of energy want to crack the entrance examination, want to pass the first year MBBS with flying colors. So for them, 6 p.m. session conceptual anatomy. Referral code is ANAT10 if you wish to take the subscription or you wish to see the free sessions on the Unacademy platform. So yes, for the session detail, this is the session detail for the NEET PG 7:30 p.m. session. Today is the 8th session, and 9 p.m. session is again a special session. Today is again 21st session, and conceptual anatomy timing is 6 p.m. Yeah, good evening, Ghosh. Good evening, dear Ghosh. Yeah, so I'll also want to tell you about the other subscription. Iconic subscription is there, so you can avail the opportunity to take the Iconic subscription, which is the merging of Prep Ladder and the Unacademy platform. And ANAT10 is the code which can be used by you. Also, you can boost your PG preparation by taking 3 months of subscription and getting additional 1 month of subscription absolutely free. Absolutely free. Yeah. Happy evening, Ganesh. Happy evening, Ganesh, dear. Yeah, also I want to tell you about the MBBS Foundation Professional second year batch. That is ANAT10 is the code which can be used by you. The professional third year batch, ANAT10 is the code which can be used for you. And the target next batch 2022, you can be the part of this session. You can also be the part, or those who are your senior can take the sessions of conceptual anatomy along with, they can say, the sessions of image based sessions, which has started in 19th May. So all these sessions you can be the part. 34,000 MCQs are curated on the platform of Unacademy. So take the advantage of solving all these MCQs and just crack your entrance examination. Download the app. Okay, download the app. Find the goal, use the code ANAT10 for seeing the free sessions on the Unacademy platform. These are all details of the subscription, details which can be utilized by you if you want to take the subscription of Unacademy. So this was all introduction about the platform, and I think few students have already joined, so we can start the session. So yes, these are the batches. Okay, now let me start with the introduction part. So today's session is the front of thigh. Okay, so before starting the topic of lower limb, I just want to give you the brief bony landmarks. So let me give you the brief of the bony landmarks which is seen. So actually, for your osteology session in the lower limb, you have to be well prepared with the bones of lower limb. It's a very important thing in the osteology session. They are always there is chance that you will get a hip bone or the femur, or you will get a tibia for your viva examination. So all these bones should be at the tip of your tongue. So yes, this is the iliac crest. This is the bony landmark. This is the superior border of the hip bone or the innominate bone. This is iliac crest. This is greater trochanter, the femur. You can see lower end of femur having the condyles articulating with the tibia and the fibula. These are certain landmarks. Also, you can see in case of lower limb, tibia is the medial bone, and in case of lower limb, fibula is the lateral bone. This is just the reverse of upper limb. Actually, tibia is corresponding to radius bone of the upper limb. Tibia corresponds to which bone of the upper limb? Radius, and fibula corresponds to the ulna bone of upper limb. So why it happens, why there is change? You can see the lateral bone is lying medially and medial bone is lying laterally. So in reality, so Sagar Patel is the new student. Welcome to the session, dear Sagar. First year students, welcome to the session. So today I'm starting, so very welcome to the session, and it's good that you have joined the session exactly when I'm starting with the lower limb. So today is the introduction kind of thing of the first part of the front of the thigh. Then we will proceed and I will cover up the whole lower limb for you. Okay, so you watched the recorded lecture also. Very nice. Okay, great one. So you have already attended my lecture. That is a good point. So yes, now you can see lower end of tibia is forming medial malleolus, lower end of fibula is forming lateral malleolus. Okay, so these are the bony landmarks which should be kept in your mind, and we will also have osteology session later. If needed, if you want, then only I will prepare for the osteology session also, because firstly, I want to concentrate on the theory part. Okay, so these are the bones. So you can see the bones of articulated foot. You can see here, this is the talus bone. Okay, the talus bone anteriorly is articulating with, as you can see in the diagram, anteriorly it is articulating with the navicular bone. Okay, this is the medial aspect, and talus is sitting over the heel bone, that is calcaneus bone. That is the calcaneus bone. Also, you can see here, there is the 3 cuneiform which is lying here, the medial, intermediate, and lateral, and this bone is the cuboid bone. Then we have got the metacarpal and we have got the phalanges. So this is just an introduction part. Now let's start with the anterior aspect of thigh. Before that, I want that you should know certain landmarks. So in your Viva examination, this is very favorite question of the examiners, to ask you 2 important features. One is inguinal ligament, midpoint of inguinal ligament, one, and the other is mid-inguinal point. So these are the 2 structures which is always asked for differentiation. So there is difference between mid-inguinal point and there difference between mid-inguinal point. So I would like to give you this difference because it is always asked as a primary question. So see here, first thing is that by the definition only you can understand it is midpoint of inguinal ligament, means it should be midpoint of the inguinal ligament, means you have to know the extent of inguinal ligament. My dear friends, the extent of inguinal ligament is from anterior superior iliac spine of pelvis, that means hip bone. So inguinal ligament extends from anterior superior iliac spine, from here till the level of if we talk about midpoint of inguinal ligament, it extends till the level of pubic tubercle. So what is this landmark? This is pubic tubercle. So if I talk about midpoint of this line, so let me just connect this line with green color. So this line is what? This is inguinal ligament. My dear friends, inguinal ligament is extending from which 2 landmarks? Inguinal ligament is extending from anterior superior iliac spine to that of pubic tubercle. So if I'm talking about midpoint of this line, that means it is midpoint of AS, IS and PT, means pubic tubercle. Got it. When I am talking about mid-inguinal point, what is the difference? Mid-inguinal point also extends from anterior superior iliac spine, but it goes till the level of pubic symphysis. It goes till the level of pubic symphysis. Please see this diagram. So what you can appreciate, this is pubic symphysis. So it is extending from anterior superior iliac spine to pubic symphysis. So midpoint of this line is called as mid-inguinal point. So this is the difference between mid-inguinal point and midpoint of inguinal ligament. Everyone, is it clear? You want me to write this? You want me to write? So please write on 2 points. One is mid-inguinal point. Yes, so today a few students and students has told me, please ma'am, write along with us. Okay, so I'm writing it for you. Mid-inguinal point. So mid-inguinal point is midpoint of 2 bony landmarks. It is midpoint of anterior, superior iliac spine and pubic symphysis. Now, this is the one landmark, mid-inguinal point. The second is midpoint of inguinal ligament. Midpoint of inguinal ligament. So when I am talking midpoint of inguinal ligament, what is the difference? It is midpoint of anterior, superior iliac spine and pubic tubercle. So this is the difference. So please note down this difference is a very favorite question of your anatomist. So they will sure ask you this. Okay, this has been asked in MCQ session also and in Viva examination also. So all of you please write down this difference between mid-inguinal point and midpoint of inguinal ligament. Yeah. So yes. Is the writing clear? Can you read it writing, or I will try to write it more clear? Okay. Okay, good. So yes, yes, Aman, yes, very nice. Okay. Yeah. So now I want to explain. So okay, thank you, dear Sivan. So superficial fascia of lower limb. Next point which I want to explain is the superficial fascia of lower limb. So my dear friends, abdomen must not be started in your MBBS course now, but I want to tell, when you will study abdomen, in the abdomen, for example, in the abdomen, what happens? The superficial layer is divided into two layers. Okay. Generally, what happens? You must have already completed upper limb ka dissection, upper limb या lower limb. One of the topic must have finished in your first year course in your college, I think. So जब आपने dissection किया होगा, when you have dissected, you must have dissected skin firstly. You have removed the flap of the skin, and lower to it will be the yellowy structure which is called as fat. Okay, yeah, absolutely right. Yes, absolutely right, Burman. So yes, that structure is superficial fascia, and just beyond the superficial fascia, the next layer which come is the whitest and tense structure. वो थोड़ा white होता है. It is slightly whitest and tense, and that structure is deep fascia. Yes, but when you will go for the dissection of abdomen, when you will again go to your colleges and you will do the dissection there, what you will find that the skin flap is removed, and when you are dissecting out the superficial fascia is made of two layers. It is made of two layers. It is made of one fatty layer which is called as campus fascia, and deep membranous layer that is called as scarpa fascia. Now, deep membranous layer of abdomen will continue with the deep fascia of thigh. Abdomen ka fascia, lower down, it is coming to the thigh region, okay, of the lower limb. So membranous layer will continue with the deep fascia of the thigh region, except at the region of inguinal ligament. And at the region of inguinal ligament is firmly adherent to it. Okay, the membranous layer of abdomen is firmly adherent to that of deep fascia at the line of Holden's line. What is that landmark called as? Holden's line. So please write down this point. Superficial fascia of lower limb. So please write down superficial fascia of abdomen. Okay, superficial fascia of abdomen. Superficial fascia of abdomen is having two layers. Okay, one is superficial fatty layer. One is superficial fatty layer, and this superficial fatty layer is called as campus layer. It's called as campus layer. The other is membranous layer. The other is membranous layer, and this membranous layer is called as scarpa layer. इसको क्या बोलते हैं? Scarpa layer. Now, my dear friend, this scarpa layer of abdomen, now please write on the membranous layer of scarpa is attached to the deep fascia. It is attached to the deep fascia of thigh. Loosely. It is attached to deep fascia of the thigh loosely, except which region? Except near inguinal ligament, except the region of inguinal ligament. Because in the region of inguinal ligament, it is very firmly attached. Okay? This is inguinal ligament. More clear, I will write it. Inguinal ligament. Right on this point means if you will see the attachment of superficial membranous layer of scarpa, it is attached to deep fascia slight loosely only. It's not very deep and adherent. But if you will see the attachment of membranous layer of scarpa with that of the thigh, it's attached very adherent to the inguinal ligament. This firm line of attachment, my dear friend, this firm line of attachment of the deep membranous layer with that of the deep fascia of thigh is called as which line? Haldane's line. इसको हम क्या बोलते हैं? इसको हम Haldane's line बोलते हैं. Okay, which line, my dear friends? It is called as Haldane's line. Okay, so let's write that. Let's write that. So I am changing the slide. Okay, so I want to give you the definition of Haldane's line. What is Haldane's line? Write down the line of firm attachment, the line of firm attachment of deep membranous layer of abdomen with deep fascia of thigh. This line is called as Haldane's line. This line is called as Haldane's line. So all of you, please write this everything details along with my live session only. Because I have also gone through this period of first year MBBS, second year bhi pass kiya, third year pass kiya, final year competitive exam, then PG kiya, everything we have done, and residency, and then like this continued. So what happened in our mind हमेशा ये रहता है, हम afterwards we will see the recorded video afterwards. अभी इसको नहीं note down करते हैं, afterwards it will be done. That time never comes. That time never comes. Okay. So everyone should dedicatedly utilize this 1 hour. Okay. Dedicatedly. So that is important because I have also gone through always in my mind. At the last moment, I will mug it up and I will do it. Nothing to worry. Still, we have got enough time. But time vanishes. Time is very fastly vanishing. Okay. You have to utilize your time. So please, everyone, just utilize this time here itself and complete your notes. If you want, I will complete it. Yes, sure, I will complete it. Yes, I will complete it. Don't worry. I will complete it entirely. Yeah, sure. Okay, sure. Only the thing is that you should be attentive to the class and come for live lectures, and also that I also feel motivated that students are actually listening to the session and they are utilizing this time. Okay, so that is the important thing. Akshay Gupta, campus fascia and scarpa fascia. My dear friend Akshay, actually campus fascia and scarpa fascia are only present in abdomen. My dear friends, abdomen only has got 2 layers of superficial fascia. This is not in the continuity with the thigh. But when they are reaching the thigh, they are merging with the deep fascia of thigh. Got Akshay? That we are not talking. Which for example, I can take one paper. Let me utilize. For example, if this is a paper, okay, so for example, this is a paper, and in case of abdomen there is 2 layers. Okay, in case of abdomen there are 2 layers. Superficial layer में 2 layers होते हैं. Okay, superficial में एक ऊपर वाला fatty है, नीचे वाला membranous है. So when this abdomen layer is going towards the thigh, the deeper membranous layer is attached deeply to inguinal ligament, so it will merge. Okay, why? Because in case of lower limb there is no 2 layers. Lower limb में 2 layers नहीं होता है. Lower limb में कितने layers होते हैं? Just superficial and deep fascia. Lower limb is not having 2 layers of superficial fascia. So but the place where this merging is occurring, that place of merging is called as Haldane's line, and that has got a very important. मैम अपने आंसर्स लिखने है क्या? कोई क्लास लिया है? मैम आपने एएनएस लिखने आंसर्स लिखने का कोई क्लास लिया है? ओके, यू वांट टू ओके, डेफिनेटली वी विल आल्सो हैव दैट सेशंस. यस, सागर पटेल, ओके, यू वांट द सेशंस लाइक लॉन्ग क्वेश्चंस एंड शॉर्ट क्वेश्चंस like that. Yeah, that is also in my mind, but I think that I will, yeah, that I will do just before your examination. So let me complete because this is a conceptual, so let me build your concepts first. So just before your examination, when your final examination or your pre-boards will be there, so 2 months prior, in your preparatory leave, I will just write long questions, short questions and all for you, and diagram making. Okay, so firstly we will study conceptual, because when I will go for question and answer, that will be just टक टक टक, ये पॉइंट्स लिखना है, ये पॉइंट्स नहीं लिखना है. So firstly we will study the detail. I will surely do that before 2 months before your examination. Okay, so always Akshay Gupta, so always the deep layer will merge with deep fascia of thigh. Okay, now come to the next point. Now then let me show you this diagram, my dear friends. So see here, this is abdomen, this whole part is abdomen, and here is the so what is fascia lata? Fascia lata is deep fascia of lower limb. Fascia lata is deep fascia of lower limb. Now our abdomen having two layers, so I am talking about membranous layer of superficial fascia. When the abdomen layer was going down, in the lower limb, it merged together at a line, my dear friends. That line is called as Holden's line. So be clear in your mind that lower limb is not having two layers. No, lower limb is not having superficial layer of superficial fascia of abdomen is two layers, but not the lower limb. At the level of lower limb, there is merging, and it has got a clinical importance. It's a question of clinical importance. I will also explain that. Okay, see here, this is the line which is called as Holden's line, and at this line, the merging takes place. So if you want to know exactly the location of Holden's line, it is little Holden's line. Yeah, okay. So yeah, Holden's line, please write down. Holden's line is little lateral to pubic tubercle. What is the location? It is exactly little lateral to the pubic tubercle, and it extends laterally laterally 8 centimeters. What is the extent? It is extending laterally 8 centimeters. So please write down the Holden's line extent. And what is very important is the clinical question related to the topic. So next we will go with the clinical question related to the topic of Holden's line, which is always asked in your Viva examination. Let's move on to the next slide. My dear friends, Holden's line importance, a very important question for your Viva examination and also for your MCQ session. Okay, now my dear friends, what is this importance? In case of pelvic region, जब आप pelvis पढ़ेंगे, okay, pelvis region में urethra का injury is common. Okay, we have got urinary bladder is then continuing with the urethra, and in common pelvic injuries, motor bike accidents, car accidents. Yeah, Shani Mandal, good evening Shani Mandal, welcome to the session. So what happens if there is injury to urethra in any kind of accident and all? What happens? There is extravasation or collection of urine. Where is the collection of urine going on? The collection of urine is deep to membranous layer. It's deep to membranous layer. My dear friend, this Holden's line importance is that urine or blood collection with the injury will not go lower down in the lower limb, but it will go upper in the abdomen region, but it will not go into the lower limb. Got that point? Why? Because Holden's line is attached there and it is very adherent. The membranous layer and the fascia lata is very adherent at this Holden's line. So any injury of blood or urine will not pass in the lower limb, but it will go in the abdomen. Okay? So write down this point. This point is very important. Please, everyone. If urethra is injured, urine can extravasate or collect. What does this mean? That means collection of urine. Can collect deep to membranous layer. It will collect deep to membranous layer. And from here can pass above. From here, it will pass above. Why? Because in the abdomen, the two layers are loose. The two layers, that is the membranous and that of scarpa and that of the fatty layer is loose. Not in the lower limb. Lower limb में तो हमारे पास जो layer है वो loose नहीं है. The loose layer is found in the abdomen. So urine will go in upward direction. So urine can extravasate, collect deep to membranous layer and can pass up to anterior abdominal wall. Which aspect? Upper aspect. Upper aspect. Ganesh, what happens if it go to the lower limb? Generally, because of Holden's line, it never passes to the lower limb. But if the Holden's line is also ruptured, so there will be mixing of this blood, urine with all important blood vessels and all. If it is if it is in the superficial layer so its drainage and infection is less devastated. But if it is breaking the deep layer, breaking the deep layer means the infection and the urine collection will be more devastated condition. That generally doesn't happen. Why? Because the collection of fluid will still lie in the superficial layer only. Got Ganesh? Means if anything infection is lying superficially, means it will go in the abdomen, but it will go in the superficial layer only. It will not go in the deeper layer. So that is better to be cured. So generally there is no injury of Holden's line. अब कोई बात ही नहीं, अगर Holden's line को ही break कर दिया जाए, it happens. So that will be a very devastated condition. Got it? Yes. But firm attachment of membranous layer, to deep fascia of thigh. What is this line called as? This line is called as Holden's line. This line is called as Holden's line. It prevents urine from descending in the thigh. It prevents urine from descending into the thigh. So I have written this point. So I have utilized less space. Got my point? Firm attachment of membranous layer and deep fascia of thigh is preventing urine to descend in the thigh region. And this is the importance of Holden's line. Everyone is clear with the importance of Holden's line? Everyone give me a thumbs up if you have understood. Yeah, so yes, most of the students has understood, and let's move on to the next. So we have now I want that we should move on with the superficial part. Okay, so cutaneous nerves, my dear friends, those who want to again secure 75%. Okay, so I wish most of my students who are very sincere to their studies should achieve how much? Above 75% in their anatomy paper. So if you are answering the questions very nicely, then you have to know the cutaneous innervation of the lower limb, anterior aspect of thigh also. Okay, so in slight brief only, I will explain about the cutaneous innervation. Okay, so basically if you talk about cutaneous innervation, the source are, please write down the sources are following: ilioinguinal nerve, femoral branch of genitofemoral nerve, lateral cutaneous nerve, intermediate cutaneous nerve, medial cutaneous nerve, saphenous nerve, and cutaneous branch of anterior division of obturator nerve. So these basic cutaneous nerve is providing cutaneous sensation over the thigh region. Okay, my dear friends, if you are studying anatomy nicely, in the first attempt only you are going to clear the next examination and you are going to become a great surgeon, medicine, whichever subject you like, whether it is derma or any of the good clinical branch, you will get it. If you want paraclinicals or other subject, that is also up to you. So you will get good examination marks in the entrance exam, and you can get good seat in good government colleges. Okay, and from there itself you will start getting a handsome amount of money. You will get you will be paid for it. So that is a good point if you work in a government institute or in any army, AFMC and all. So I wish you should clear the exam also in the first attempt, but that can be achieved if you are serious from the very first year. So I want that you should have good numbers in the first year. Along with this, you should also target the next examination. So these cutaneous innervation MCQs also come. So we will study in brief about the cutaneous nerves. So firstly, I want to tell one important point. How is the lumbar plexus is formed? Actually, the nerves. I will also take a session on the nerves of lower limb, and I will explain the clinical abnormalities which happen if the nerves are injured. Okay, yes, sure. Please write down. Yes, sure. So please write down this. 6 nerves. We are going to study these 6 nerves in brief. Okay, done everyone? Yeah. So now coming to the lumbar plexus. Now what is lumbar plexus? So it's a web of nerve plexus. What do you mean by web? Means एक bundle है. Okay, in normal terms में हम क्या बोलेंगे? Bundle है, एक bundle, and plexus means anastomotic kind of plex is formed. So it is called a web of nerve. The better term will be web of nerves. Lumbar plexus is web of nerves, and at the location of lumbar plexus in the lumbar region, and it is formed by, okay, so if you will see, it is formed by first lumbar nerve, second lumbar nerve, third lumbar nerve, and that of fourth lumbar nerve. So basically these 4 lumbar nerves are contributing in formation of lumbar plexus. So it's a web of nerve which is also called as plex of nerve. The other term is plex of nerves. So you can say group of nerves which is located in the lumbar region, and it is formed by the anterior rami or ventral rami of, it is formed in the ventral rami of, it is formed by ventral rami of L1, L2, L3 and L4 lumbar nerves. So generally no contribution is taken from the 12th T12, but a communicating, can you see here, this is T12 thoracic nerve, T12. So a communicating branch, you can say a communicating branch can form contribution to lumbar plexus. Okay, so if anyone asks you what is the root value of lumbar plexus, the answer is L1, L2, L3, L4. If the other question is asked like a leading question, that is 12th thoracic nerve, which is called as the subcostal nerve, is contributing to, you can say yes, a communicating branch is communicating with the lumbar plexus. The branches are, as you can see, ilioinguinal, genitofemoral, lateral femoral, cutaneous nerve, femoral nerve, obturator. Don't worry of these nerves. Important nerves which is important for your examination first year MBBS and concepts for next examination. So I will detail you in the class of nerves of lower limb. So now what I want to explain is the cutaneous innervation of front of thigh. So let's write it. Okay. Now coming to this point, ilioinguinal nerve, my dear friends, the root value is basically L1. What is the root value? L1. Okay. And the areas which it innervates, so it innervates the skin over root of penis. Lumbosacral nerve. Now that is lumbosacral Siddiqui. Yeah, that is lumbosacral nerve, and that is lumbosacral trunk. Okay. Fifth, when you are talking of fifth lumbar, it is lumbosacral trunk. It will lead to the formation of lumbosacral trunk. Okay. If we are just talking about lumbar plexus, it is L1, L2, L3 and L4. L5 is related in lumbosacral trunk. See here, it is forming lumbosacral trunk. Means it will join with the sacral nerve. Okay. So write down, ilioinguinal nerve innervates which structure? So it innervates skin over root of penis. It is innervating skin over root of penis and upper part of scrotum in case of male. Upper part of scrotum in case of males. So corresponding to these structures in female, it will innervate skin or mons pubis. It will innervate mons pubis and labia majora. Labia majora. Now, it also gives motor innervations too. It also gives slight ilioinguinal nerve. It is basically supplying the innervation. So it also give innervation. It also give motor innervation to transverse abdominis and oblique muscles of abdomen, oblique muscle. So if we are talking about the lower limb, so it is going towards the root of penis and mons pubis and labia majora. So this was the first cutaneous nerve written. Now moving on to the second, femoral branch of genitofemoral nerve. So let's move on to the second. Femoral branch of genitofemoral. The word only is telling femoral, means it is going towards, actually genitofemoral nerve is having two branch. One is genital. So when we are telling genital, it is going towards the pelvic region, pelvic structure. But when I am talking about femoral, the root value is L1 and L2. And the femoral branch, if we are talking about femoral branch, the femoral branch passes beneath the inguinal ligament. It passes beneath the inguinal ligament. Okay, and it passes towards the lateral compartment of femoral sheath. It passes through lateral aspect of femoral sheath. So it is innervating. So if we talk about, so let me talk about anterior aspect. So it is innervating skin of anterior medial side of thigh. Medial side of thigh. So I'm not going into much detail now because we are concentrating on its contribution to the front of thigh. So femoral branch of genitofemoral nerve passes beneath the inguinal ligament and it is innervating skin of anterior medial side of thigh. Femoral branch of genitofemoral nerve. Now lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh. The next is lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh. So when we are talking about lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh, the other name of lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh is that it's a lateral femoral cutaneous nerve of thigh. It is also called as lateral femoral cutaneous nerve of thigh. So please don't get confused. Both are same. So why I have written this name, that you should not get confused. It's also called as lateral femoral cutaneous nerve of thigh. The root value is L2 and L3. And it is innervating lateral side of thigh. It is innervating lateral side of thigh. Now, thereafter, let's move on to intermediate cutaneous nerve of thigh. The next will be intermediate cutaneous nerve of thigh. Now, when we are talking about intermediate cutaneous nerve of thigh, the root value is L2 and L3. So anyone, if they want that, please ma'am wait, we have not written that, they can just tell me, ma'am please wait or something. Wait, just write WAIT, wait. So I will understand, okay? Last slide, something you can write. So intermediate cutaneous nerve is L2, L3 and the other name is, it is also called as middle cutaneous nerve of thigh. It is also called as middle cutaneous nerve of thigh. It pierces the fossa lata below 7.5 centimeter of inguinal ligament. So, okay, and it is actually giving innervation to middle part of thigh. So I will not go in much details. That is more than enough so that you can memorize in your examination. It innervates middle part of the thigh and also skin as low as front of knee, as low as front of knee. So see here, it not only give innervation to middle part of the thigh, but it also go lower down, giving innervation to the skin as low as the front of knee. As low as front of knee. So thereafter, which is the next one, that is medial cutaneous nerve of thigh. The next is medial cutaneous nerve of thigh. So by the name only, it is clear that it is medial cutaneous nerve of thigh. So it will give innervation to medial aspect of thigh. So actually, Medial cutaneous nerve of thigh is divided into two branch. One is anterior branch and the other is posterior branch. It is having anterior branch and posterior branch. So when we are talking about anterior branch, the anterior branch is running over the sartorius muscle and it is going low down medial side till the level of knee. So medial cutaneous nerve of thigh will supply medial aspect, it supplies the medial aspect of the thigh. It goes towards the medial aspect of thigh, runs down over sartorius muscle. So skin over sartorius muscle is also getting innervation, and it is actually, if we talk about, it is going towards the medial side of knee. It is going towards medial side of knee. So anterior branch will go towards medial side of knee from medial aspect of the thigh, and posterior branch will run along medial border of sartorius muscle. Along with saphenous nerve. So actually it runs along with which nerve? Saphenous nerve. Okay. So in other terms, if you are not remembering this much of detail, so what you can say, medial cutaneous nerve of thigh is running over sartorius muscle. It's running, it is giving cutaneous innervation over sartorius muscle, and it will go towards medial aspect of the knee. It will run towards medial aspect of the knee. So if you know this much also, it's okay. It is running till the level of medial aspect of the knee, and it is giving cutaneous innervation over which muscle? Sartorius muscle. Now the next one is saphenous nerve. The next is saphenous nerve. So yes. So saphenous nerve, actually root value is L3 and L4. Actually it's a branch. So this is often asked in an MCQ and Viva, that saphenous nerve is a branch of which nerve? The word saphenous means easily visible. What do you mean by the word saphenous? Easily visible. Easily visible. So when you go for dissection, जब आप dissection करेंगे, the best thing in the lower limb when you start the dissection, the first thing which you are very able, जब आप superficial fascia clean करते हैं, तो great saphenous vein आपको दिखता है. Great saphenous vein. Why? Because it is easily visible, and the word saphenous means easily visible. So close to it on the medial aspect there is saphenous nerve. So root value is L3 and L4, and it is a branch from posterior division of, it's a branch from posterior division of femoral nerve. So this has been asked several times in the MCQ, that saphenous nerve is a branch of which division of femoral nerve? So answer is, it's a branch from posterior division of femoral nerve. It's a branch from posterior division of femoral nerve. And actually, if you will see the course of saphenous nerve, the course of saphenous nerve is running along with the saphenous vein. It is running along with the saphenous vein, and it supplies medial aspect of the skin on the leg, and it will go lower down. It will go lower down till the level of great toe. Great toe. Okay, the big toe, which is lying on the medial side of the foot. So it will reach till the level of great toe. So write down saphenous nerve runs down in front of, yeah, sure, Ganesh. Yes, Ganesh, please write down. Okay, so it runs down in front of great saphenous vein. GSV means great saphenous vein, and supplies skin of medial side of leg. Medial side of leg and foot up to the level of ball of great toe. Ball of great toe. So it is going till the level of ball of great toe. So yes, all of the important cutaneous nerves has been done. Actually, a small branch is also there. That is a branch from obturator nerve. So you should write that point also, because obturator nerve is a branch of medial compartment of the thigh, but it's one of its smaller branch from anterior division. It's also supplying skin on the medial aspect of thigh. So we will note down that also. So the next is cutaneous branch of anterior division of obturator nerve. So it's also root value is L3 and L4, and it supplies the skin on lower 1/3 of medial side of thigh. Medial side of thigh. Okay, so it is supplying skin on the lower 1/3 on the medial side of thigh. So yes, in detail only we have finished the cutaneous innervation of whole of the front of forearm, front of thigh, and thereafter I would like to tell you about cutaneous arteries also. So cutaneous arteries. So okay, yes. Okay, Siddiqui, lateral nerve of thigh is the only, actually lateral nerve of thigh. Why I will tell you, because lateral nerve, when we will study femoral nerve, okay, when you will study femoral nerve, you will study that medial cutaneous nerve of thigh, intermediate cutaneous nerve of thigh, saphenous nerve. Actually, these are branches from femoral nerve. But when we talk about lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh, it's directly a branch from the lumbar plexus. Okay, directly from the thigh. That means it is not a branch of subsequent any nerve, but it is a direct branch from lumbar plexus. Got this point, Siddiqui? Means it's a direct branch which is giving cutaneous innervation to the front of thigh. It is not a subsequent branch. For example, when I am telling saphenous nerve, it's a branch of femoral nerve. When I am telling medial cutaneous nerve of thigh, it's a branch of femoral nerve. When I am telling cutaneous branch of anterior division, it's a branch of obturator nerve. So same way, every nerve is a subsequent branch of any, but this lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh is a direct branch from lumbar plexus. Let me show you. It directly innervates the thigh. See here, my dear friends, see this diagram. So I will just rub all these things. Now you just see one important point which will clear you. Can you see lateral femoral cutaneous nerve? Lateral femoral cutaneous nerve means lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh. They are same. Lateral cutaneous nerve of thigh. Okay, and it's a branch from lumbar plex directly. It's not a branch from any femoral nerve. See here, femoral nerve, obturator nerve. So other branches are a branch of subsequent nerve, but it is directly going towards the thigh directly from lumbar plexus. Okay, so let's move on to the next. So let's move on to cutaneous arteries. Okay, cutaneous arteries. So next point will be cutaneous arteries. Okay, cutaneous arteries means the arteries which is cutaneous branch of important artery which is lying in the lower limb, that is femoral artery. So important, when you go for dissecting the superficial fascia, you will get some of the cutaneous branches of the arteries there. These cutaneous arteries are branches of femoral artery. It's a branch of femoral artery. These are branches of femoral arteries. Okay, now so the branches are here. You can see in this diagram the branches: superficial epigastric, superficial external pudendal, and superficial circumflex iliac. So these are the Dr. Baby. Yes, there is YouTube session 7:30 p.m. Yes, there is session. Okay, so there is superficial. Yes, baby, there is. Superficial epigastric is there, superficial circumflex iliac, and superficial external pudendal. Also 2 p.m. in the day also there was one YouTube session. So 2 YouTube session today I have taken. Don't worry. You can join me for the 7:30. NEET PG. The topic is NEET PG. NEET PG 2021. Okay. So now utilizing the time of the students, we will concentrate on the topic. Okay. Superficial epigastric, superficial circumflex iliac, and superficial external pudendal. These are cutaneous branches from femoral artery. These are cutaneous branches from femoral artery. Yes, Dr. Baby, that will be of 1 hour. Okay, now we will talk about the topic. Many students are concentrating, so we can talk about that afterwards. Which all session is it good? At the end, I will tell you about my session. Don't worry. So now cutaneous arteries. So three cutaneous arteries. Cutaneous arteries in the lower limb are the branch of femoral artery. And the branches are, write down the branches are superficial external pudendal. Superficial external pudendal. Superficial external pudendal is piercing. It pierces the cribriform fascia. It pierces the cribriform fascia. And it is running medially. So actually it is supplying which structure? So it supplies external genitalia. It supplies external genitalia. Both in male and female, it supplies external genitalia. When I talk about superficial epigastric, the other branch is superficial epigastric. So by the name only it is clear. Epigastric. That means it is going in the upward direction towards the umbilicus. So it will run towards the umbilicus and supply. It will run towards the umbilicus. The direction will be towards the umbilicus and it will supply lower part of anterior abdominal wall. It will supply lower part of anterior abdominal wall. The third branch is superficial circumflex iliac. The third branch is superficial circumflex iliac. So write down superficial circumflex iliac. So superficial circumflex iliac runs upwards. It will run upwards below the inguinal ligament. Below the inguinal ligament. It will run below the inguinal ligament and will run towards which structure? It will run towards anterior superior iliac spine. And at the level of anterior superior iliac spine, this superficial circumflex iliac will anastomoses with deep circumflex iliac artery. Deep circumflex iliac artery. So here I will talk about, so in short, what you understand that femoral artery is giving three cutaneous arteries. One is superficial circumflex iliac, other is superficial external pudendal, other is superficial epigastric. Superficial epigastric going towards the umbilicus. Superficial circumflex iliac going towards anterior superior iliac spine. Superficial external pudendal going towards the pubic area. Okay. So yes, these are pudendal means actually pudendal area is pertaining to pelvic region only. There is a perineum. Okay, when you will study the pelvic region, there are pelvic structures. There is urinary bladder, there is uterus, there is a perineal structure. So pudendal means it is pertaining to the areas which is lying inside on the deeper aspect of the pelvic region. Okay, perineum. Akshay, yeah. Now coming to great saphenous vein. Great saphenous vein. Now another thing, if you remember, I have told you this vein which you are seeing is the great saphenous vein. If you remember, I told you that great saphenous vein is the most superficial vein, and when you go for the dissection, the first thing which you see is the great saphenous vein. So great saphenous vein is the largest and the longest superficial vein. It's the largest and that of longest superficial vein. Actually, I will tell you about great saphenous vein in the detail when I will take a subsequent class. One of the class on great saphenous vein ही होगा. एक class होगा great saphenous vein में. This is a very important question for your long question. So I will detail there many much important points, clinical aspects related to this. We have got so many clinical aspects related to the topic venous ulcer. We have got these varicose vein and that varicose ulcers. So we will discuss that in detail. So here you just note down it is the largest and the longest superficial vein, and it begins. Where does it begins? If you will see, it is beginning from the dorsal venous arc from the foot region. Thereafter, it goes towards the medial malleolus medial aspect, and it will pierce the area of saphenous vein, and it will continue with the deep vein, that is femoral vein. Okay. one class on this topic, but now I will just give the introduction part, because when you are going to dissect the superficial skin and superficial fascia, you will see great saphenous vein. So the word saphenous mean easily seen, that is known to you. It begins, write down, it begins on dorsum of foot, from it arises from medial end of dorsal venous arch. Dorsal venous arch. It runs, thereafter it runs upwards in front of medial malleolus, along medial side of leg, and behind knee. So it is running behind the knee, and ultimately it will drain into femoral vein, piercing cribriform fascia. Okay, so see here, in very brief, I am giving you introduction about great saphenous vein. So write on this, and ultimately and finally, or ultimately, or terminating, you can say finally, it pierces cribriform fascia. Cribriform fascia is seen in it's a fascia which is covering the great saphenous vein or saphenous opening. So it pierces cribriform fascia, which is covering the saphenous opening part of, and opens into which vein? Femoral vein. It contains valve. Approximately, it contains 10 to 15 valves. 10 to 15. Some book it is written approximately 20 valves. And these valves are necessary for the unidirectional blood flow. That means blood should flow from superficial to deep, not from deep to superficial fascia. And the whole tributaries and all will correspond to the tributary of the cutaneous tributaries of saphenous vein will correspond to the cutaneous branches of femoral artery. So see this diagram, superficial circumflex iliac, superficial epigastric vein, and superficial external pudendal. If you remember, these are the three cribriform structure. It's a cribriform fascia. How many know? Cribri. What do you mean by the word cribri? Cribriform plate of ethmoid bone. So the word cribri means perforation. What do you mean by the word cribri? The word cribri, the meaning of the word cribri means perforation. Okay, it means perforation. So there is cribriform plate in the bone of the nose and the that is ethmoidal bone, that is also perforated by olfactory nerves, the nerve which is required for smell. Here, Channi. Yeah, absolutely right. So who is this? Sagar Patel has given a very Channi, chai channe ke liye. Very nice. Yes. So it's like a cribriform. Okay, good explanation, dear. So cribri means, as he has told, that it's like a channi, you can say, and it is perforated. So we can count how many, but many are there. And that perforated, because of this great saphenous vein will drain into femoral vein, will go towards the femoral vein. And these are the tributaries corresponding to the branches of cutaneous branches of femoral artery. The tributaries here has been shown in the diagram. So yes, we will have that detail. So then the next thing which I want to tell you is about the pits. Yes, you can say pits. Pits se acha hai perforation. Better word is perforation. Okay, Sivang, perforation is a better word. It is perforated, sieve-like perforation. It's sieve-like perforation. Superficial inguinal lymph node. So when you go and dissecting, so I will take another 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, and I will complete this topic. Okay. What is the function of cribriform fascia? Function, it's a modification of deep fascia only. It's a modification of deep fascia which is forming a site where great saphenous vein can drain into femoral vein. Okay, please complete this. So let me complete this. I am not finishing the session. I am still continuing this. Okay. So everyone concentrate. So we will have to complete the topic also. So we have to stick to time also. It is important. Okay. So yes, got it? Okay. Now, yes, that is entry point. That is an entry point. Cribriform fascia forms an entry point which is used for draining the great saphenous vein into femoral vein. Now see here, when you will go for superficial dissection, you will found the superficial inguinal lymph nodes which is arranged into horizontal group. Can you see here? So it is in the form of T. Okay, it is in the form of T. The horizontal group of lymph nodes are arranged, and also we have got vertical group of lymph nodes being arranged. Okay, can you see here? These are superficial inguinal lymph nodes. So in the superficial fascia, we have got superficial inguinal lymph nodes lying there. Now coming, so we have finished the superficial fascia. Now coming to the deep fascia. The deep fascia is called as fascia lata. So see here, the deep fascia is called as fascia lata in the lower limb. What is the term used for deep fascia? Fascia lata. Yellow color highlighted area, can you see here? This is the deep fascia of the lower limb, which is highlighted in yellow color, and it is a tough fibrous sheath that is enveloping whole of the thigh, and it is like a sleeve. In general terms, we use the word stockings. Okay, stocking. So it is like the stockings for our limbs. So it is covering the whole of the structures like the muscles and all. It's covered by a stockings, and that covering is called as deep fascia. That covering is called as deep fascia. It is like a sleeve covering over the structures and entire of the fibrous sheath. It is in the form of fibrous sheath covering or enveloping the thigh. It envelops the thigh. It is enveloping. It envelops the thigh like a stockings. Girls wears the stockings. It's same like that. Okay. Now see here another diagram I am showing. Can you see the green color structure? This is another diagram which is showing you every structures. When you will do the dissection also, जब आप superficial fascia clean करेंगे, when you will clean the superficial fascia, you will not directly see the muscles. You will see every structure will be having a white fibrous sheath which is covering it. So that is deep fascia. That is what? Deep fascia. Okay. Now coming to got a deep fascia of thigh. So let's see attachment. So please everyone note down the attachment. This is often asked. So you should know the attachment of deep fascia. So attachment is superiorly deep fascia is attached to, superiorly it is actually forming a boundary line. It is forming a boundary line between lower limb and the pelvis. Okay, on the superficial attachment, if I go like this, so superiorly its attachment on anterior aspect is, if we talk about superior attachment, superiorly anterior aspect, it is attached to inguinal ligament. It is attached to inguinal ligament and lateral aspect to iliac crest. Posteriorly, if we talk about posterior attachment, posteriorly it is attached to gluteal fascia. Posteriorly, it is attached to gluteal fascia, also to sacrum, coccyx bone, and sacrotuberous ligament. Sacrotuberous ligament. So superiorly, as you can see, anteriorly, if this iliac crest, it is getting attached onto the most slight lateral aspect. So laterally, it is going towards the iliac crest, anteriorly to inguinal ligament, posteriorly to gluteal fascia. What about medially? So medially on the superior aspect, superior aspect, it is attached to pubis bone. Pubis bone. It is attached to pubis bone. Medially, it is attached to pubis bone and that of pubic arch and ischial tuberosity. Please complete this. This is very important, the attachment. So we have to know the whole attachment of fascia lata. Okay, superior attachment. I am talking about superior attachment. Superiorly On the anterior aspect to inguinal ligament, laterally to iliac crest, posteriorly to gluteal fascia, sacrotuberous ligament and sacrum, medially to pubis and pubic arch. Now moving to inferior attachment. So everyone written? Now moving to inferior attachment. Yes. So write down inferior attachment. Yes. Inferiorly it is attached on front. Inferiorly it is attached on front and sides of knee. Means inferior attachment, if you will see, it is going down till the level of knee. So it is going down till the level of knee. When we go more on inferior aspect of the fascia lata and deep fascia, it reaches onto the front and sides of the knee. Actually, it merges with the fibrous capsule of knee joint. It merges with the fibrous capsule of knee joint. And on inferior aspect, on the front, it attaches to the side of knee, and on posterior aspect, inferiorly on the posterior aspect, it attaches to popliteal fascia. Okay. So yes, with this we have finished the attachment, one in the upper aspect, other onto the lower aspect, as we have seen. Written. Now everyone finished. Now I want to tell you about modification of deep fascia. Modification of deep fascia or fascia lata is three. So we have to know the three structure. One is iliotibial tract, the other is saphenous opening, and the other is intermuscular septa. Intermuscular septa, iliotibial tract, and saphenous opening. So the first structure which I want to explain is iliotibial tract, then saphenous and intermuscular septa. So see here. Can you see this whitish structure? So iliotibial tract lies on the lateral aspect of our thigh region. Iliotibial tract lies on the lateral aspect of our thigh region, and this is a modification of fascia lata, which is approximately 5 centimeter wide band. It is approximately 5 centimeter wide band. Superiorly, the tract is splitting. So if you will see superior aspect, it is splitting. So I would like to show you. Can you see here on the superior aspect, the iliotibial tract is splitting. See here, iliotibial tract is splitting and it is enclosing two muscle. One is tensor fascia lata and other is gluteus maximus. So can you see two muscles are inserted into iliotibial tract. One is gluteus maximus and other is tensor fascia lata. So yes, in brief, please write on. Fascia lata is thickened laterally. It is thickened laterally to form 5 centimeter wide band. To form 5 centimeter wide band. 5 centimeters wide band. What is this called as? Iliotibial tract. It is called as iliotibial tract. Superiorly, the tract splits. The tract is splitting superiorly, and it splits to enclose the iliac crest and that of capsule of hip joint. See here, superiorly it splits, superficially it attaches to iliac crest, and deeper aspect it attaches to hip joint. Inferiorly, so written fascia lata, this is the superior aspect. It is attaching on one side to iliac crest. Like for example, if it is a iliotibial tract, it will split like this. One goes to the iliac crest, other goes to the hip joint. Inferior attachment. This is what? This is superior attachment of iliotibial tract. Now I am talking about inferior attachment of iliotibial tract. Inferiorly, as you can see, iliotibial tract is inferiorly located in relation to which structure? Tibia. So inferiorly, see here, inferiorly it is attached to lateral condyle of tibia. Inferiorly it is attached to lateral condyle of tibia. Inferiorly it is attached to lateral condyle of tibia. Now, okay, I will come to this now. See here, this is we have done. Now, I want to tell one more point about iliotibial tract. Yeah, one more point is important about iliotibial tract, that it is giving insertion to two muscles. So this is often asked in the MCQ. It is giving insertion to two muscles, and the two muscles are gluteus maximus muscle. Gluteus maximus muscle. One is the gluteus maximus muscle, and the other is tensor fascia lata. Tensor fascia lata. Got it? And the other is, what is the function? So in the MCQ and also in your Viva examination, it is asked, what is the function of iliotibial tract? So the function of iliotibial tract is stabilizing. It is acting as a stabilizer. It stabilizes the knee. It stabilizes the knee both in extended and partial flexed position. Both in extended and partial flexed knee. So iliotibial tract is giving stability to the knee on lateral aspect and in both extended and partially flexed knee in two position. One is extended and other is partially flexed knee. It is giving stability. It is acting as a stabilizer for the knee joint. Iliotibial tract stabilizes the knee both in extended position of the knee and partially flexed position of the knee. Both in extended and partially flexed position of the knee. So just few points were remaining. Don't worry. In tomorrow's session, I will exactly start from that point. Okay. So before ending the session, now I want to give you the details because many students were asking about my sessions. So I will, timing and all. Don't worry. I will tell you. Okay. So tomorrow we'll start exactly with this point, and then we will go to femoral triangle, adductor region and all. Now, free live sessions on the Unacademy platform. Those who are new to the platform, they can use the code ANAD10 for unlocking free sessions on the Unacademy platform. Okay. And my free sessions are, my dear friends, one of the session is 7:30 p.m. session on YouTube where NEET PG sessions is going on. So you can join me just now after 10 minutes. I am going to start 10-15 minutes in the 7:30 p.m. session. This is till 28th of this May. Thank you, Siddiqui. Thank you so much. You liked it. It was awesome. Thank you so much for appreciation. Now, again, I also want to tell you about FMG session, that is 9 p.m. session. This will be useful for you. Sivan, thank you so much, dear. I also want to tell you about the 6 p.m. session, that is conceptual anatomy. So you can attend me for this. This conceptual anatomy is very useful for first year MBBS students and those who want to give next examination. So these are three series which I am taking up. These are the series, and also the students who are new to the platform, that they can just use the unlock code of that is called as ANAD10. They can use the code ANAD10 and they can so yes, I am taking for this is very useful for the first prof students. Yes, dear. And see here, the NEET PG sessions is 7:30 p.m. and today is the 9th session of NEET PG session. So yeah, today is the 8th session. Tomorrow will be the 9th. So altogether 15 sessions for this month I have categorized. And for FMG session together, I have altogether 19 sessions I am taking for FMG. This is 9 p.m. session. So you can join me for this, those who are interested. And for special conceptual anatomy, especially for the first year MBBS students. So tomorrow exactly 6 p.m. will be the timing, and I will start from the point where I have ended exactly. All the best. Keep studying. Thank you so much. So those who are new to the platform, and you can also tell your friends, colleague to join the session. This will be extremely helpful for them. They can use the code, referral code, that is ANAD10 for unlocking, and also any of the students, this can be used as a 10% discount coupon also. All the best. Keep studying. Thank you so much. Yeah. So tomorrow exactly at the same time, that is 6 p.m. time. And now I'm going to start the YouTube session 7:30 p.m. So a few students were asking also. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. We'll meet next day. Thank you so much.